Hey friend, welcome back to Fig and Farm at Home. I am so glad you're here hanging out with me today on this Friday or whenever you listen. It means the world to me to have you hang out. But I'm wondering, do you want to hang out in real life? Like meet face to face? Okay, that would be awesome. If you could come over and hang out and we could have coffee and spill the tea and get to know each other, I would love that. But we can do it over Zoom. And I want to invite you to a 2-day event that I am hosting. It's a workshop where I'm teaching you the fundamentals of creating a very cohesive and cozy home. The workshop is called 3 Steps to Creating a Home That You Can't Stop Gushing About. Friend, it's time. If you have that Pinterest board that is full of all the inspiration, but you haven't taken action, if you have all the best intentions of the world of creating a space that you absolutely love, but haven't taken action, if you are wanting to make change but you just haven't started, it's time, friend. I want to invite you to come and hang out with me in this workshop. And if you can't be there live because of things called work, I get it. That's okay. Go ahead and register for the workshop. We can still hang out that way. We're going to be interacting that way, and I will be sending you a replay. I want you to know the 3 things that I would do if I had to start all over again. The 3 things I work with my clients with, these are the things, friend. This is a foundation that is going to set you up to be your home decorator year after year after year. 10 years from now, when you want to make a change, 20 years from now, when you want to make a change, these are the things you need to know. So, what do you say? Come hang out with me September 17th and 18th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. You can register by going to bit.ly/fall home workshop. All right, friend, I'll see you there. We grew up with the phrase, home is where the heart is, but our culture has shifted and now the message is, home should be Pinterest perfect. I'm calling BS on that message. Home, it's not about the stuff, it's about the story. And whether you know it or not, your home is a reflection of you and is already saying something. So what is it that you want it to say? Hey, I'm Danny, a former first grade teacher turned home decorator. Going from a dual income to a single income so I could stay home with my babies meant budget, like ramen eating, Goodwill shopping budget, and I learned a few things along the way, like how to bring big style to your home without breaking the bank, and I'm sharing it all with you. Tips, tricks, decor, and design advice so you can learn to tell your story with your style, where you can start living free from the Pinterest perfect trap and start living a life of intention. Welcome to Fig and Farm at Home, where we design happy living and where it doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. Every once in a while, I like to take a peek at what is trending and see if it is going to be applicable to you. See if things that we hear in the movies, we see on Instagram, trends that are just kind of popping up and taking storm, if they apply. And one of the things that has caught my attention, and this is mainly on social media when I'm just kind of chilling out and relaxing, the thing that has caught my attention is the phrase being demure and mindful. Have you heard of that? Have you seen more and more and more things pop up in different, things you're following online or even emails I'm getting? This is kind of taken at storm. Now, I'm not going to tell you the roots of it. It is someone, an influencer on Instagram who was making fun of something. And now she has gone viral. But I do want to talk about the concept of what demure looks like in your own home. Because you might be wondering. Now, before we dive into what demure looks like, we need to understand what in the world it means and how it is different from demur, which is very different. So we're going to go Englishy for a minute. We're going to go, you're going to see Mrs. Watson as a teacher here. Are you ready? Okay. So demure, which is the word that we're seeing, means respectful, reserved, modest, shy. And if I were to use it in a sentence, I might think, oh, she is such a demure lady. Demur means kind of the opposite, raising doubts, objections, reluctance. And if I were to use that one in a sentence, I might say something like, she accepted the grade without demur. Okay, the big difference. So make sure you're pronouncing it right. Demure, we're going to be demure in our home. Are you wondering how you can do that? 5 ways. If you're thinking, yeah, this is kind of cute, this little trend that's popping up, how we can be mindful and demure. Well, we always want to be mindful in our home, right? The things that we bring in, the things that we take out, the choices we make, we always want to be mindful. That is what we teach here. But can we be demure in the process? You betcha. Here are 5 ways that you can create a home that looks demure and is a little bit mindful. Okay, the number one thing is to create a really calm color palette. What do I mean by calm? I'm talking, if you are a fan of bright, bold color and pattern, we're going to not do that. If we're trying to go for shy and modest and reserved, we want to have our colors reflect that. So the colors I'm immediately thinking of are all kinds of whites. If you think about 50 Shades of White, yep, we want to do that. Do you remember Martha Stewart had that years and years and years ago? This was way before I was even thinking about decorating anything. I lived with my sister in her home with her family, and I was not thinking about it, but I remember the trend happening. 50 Shades of White by Martha Stewart. So we want to go there. Now, if we really want to be outrageous, as we are still in that lane of creating a home that looks demure, maybe we would include oatmeal. Maybe we'd include colors like mushroom. You can see how I'm being a little bit facetious here, because that is rarely a color in the truest sense of the word, but it does have a little bit of a pop. So you want to be monochromatic as monochromatic can be, creamy whites, all kinds of shades of white. And I would also include here all kinds of textures, and the textures are the things that are going to make the whites kind of stand out a little bit. All right, so a very subtle, calm color palette. All right, number 2, using wood tones that are light in nature. Now, you can have a demure home with like a white oak, but you can also have like a whitewashed wood. So, if you have something cherry wood at home or mahogany, those really deep, kind of bold colors of wood, you don't have to go and buy something new. You can do a painting technique that creates that almost natural-like wood is what that would be. So a monochromatic, very whites on whites color palette and natural looking woods. Number 3, brass metals. Now, why would I say brass? You can do like champagne gold, something like that, but that feels a little bit more shy, if we're going with that term, the definition, than say a matte black. It feels a little less contrasting, and it feels like it would flow very kind of seamlessly with a all white, very natural color palette. And of course, I'm choosing to use the word color palette for the woods now as well. So we want to have something that is not going to contrast harshly. Now, if you've been following around for a while, you know that sometimes in design, contrast is a really pivotal part. It's the way that we can marry old and new. It's the way that we can make 2 metals work together harmoniously. It's the way that we can combine wood tones. But here, in a demure home, we actually don't want that. We want to have something that is a little bit as monochromatic as we can, and the metals that are brass or champagne-y are going to do that better for you here. All right, number 4. And this honestly should be number 1, is to remove the chaos. When I think about a home that is demure, it is reserved, it is non-chaotic, it is not calling attention to itself at all. And I know that when I walk into homes that have crud everywhere, it calls attention to it. It has a statement. Friend, here is a very bossy big sister side moment here. Anything that is out in your home could be considered decor, right? So right now, currently in my hallway, I have kiddo soccer bags. somehow, even though they have a home for them, somehow these boys, when they come in, they like to drop them right here. And I know why. It's for convenience, right? They don't want to take the extra 5 steps to their bedroom. But when it's out, it creates a chaos. It creates a visual chaos. Now, how much battle am I going to have with them over it? I'm not really, until it's time to tidy up and, mop the floor, or a friend is coming over. But if you're wanting a home that looks demure on a regular basis, we're going to remove all the chaos. We're going to get rid of counter clutter. We're going to get rid of floor clutter. We're going to make sure that we have all seats available at the dining space all the time. We're going to make sure that there are, yes, the couch is comfortable, but we don't have over excessive things hanging out on the couch. We're going to act as if we're selling our home. And you know that strategy, right? If I were to go into your home as a stager, which, by the way, do you know that's how I started decorating? I was called in by a realtor to help stage homes. And that is a story for another time, but it was lots of fun. But the strategy is to remove, of course, personal effects. You don't have to in your own home, but remove personal effects, but also, like, you think you want to declutter and then up it by half. So as much as you think that that's good, nope, you keep going and you keep taking things out. In a demure home, we want to see less items on bookshelves. We want to see less things on coffee tables. We want to see less things on entry tables. Forget about overstuffing your mantle with all the pumpkins for fall. Like, that is not demure. That is very opposite of demure. Cute, but opposite of demure. Basically, less is more, but in a demure home, way less is more. All right. Number 5, quality matters. So all those pieces that you now have out, the whites on whites and the textures and maybe the pop of mushroom color, the quality matters. And it's kind of like quiet luxury, honestly. If you think about demure being a translatable style that we've already talked about, it is quiet luxury. And if you're wondering what quiet luxury is, I do want you to go back and listen to episode number 169 or 219. And you can learn a little bit more about having that, just that quiet luxuriousness. But having quality over quantity really matters here. But also, demure is respectful, it's reserved, it's shy. So we're not having name brand things out. We're not broadcasting that, look at this really fancy brand name couch, insert brand name. Look at this really fancy insert brand name artwork. We're not doing that. It is quiet. It is a quiet but dominant statement. And that technically was number 5, but I'm going to give you 2 more. Number 6 would be the heaviness of an object. A demure home has objects that are not super heavy. Now, a lot of times heaviness happens when there is oversized, or maybe the color. So a lot of different elements create a heaviness in the way that it looks. It can look heavy, it can look light, it can look airy. And sometimes furniture itself can just feel heavy for a space. If it is oversized for your room, that is going to be a heavy look. If you have things arranged where you have 2 dark pieces, for example, that are sitting right next to each other, that corner can be very heavy. And that's where that contrast comes into play here. But not in the demure home, remember? Or the contrast, if there is any, is the natural wood tone and the light couch. That's is that contrast? It is. And I kind of am poking fun, but this is a very gorgeous style and it feels so light and airy. Everywhere you look, it is light and airy. And that's actually part of it. Opposite of heaviness is light and airiness. And a demure home has that airy feel to it. And number 7, we've got to think about the scent. And you know what? I'm going to throw in another one, number 8, the sound. But those things are kind of the the icing on the top of the cake, right? It is the coup de grace. The scent should not be overpowering. So as much as I love to have like a vanilla scent in my home, it's not that, because that's a little bit too identifiable. It's like that scent that you smell if you go to Disneyland and they call it magic, right? It is that. It is that, like, oh my gosh, I can't stop smelling that. You can't really identify, is it lemongrass? Is it apples? Is it vanilla? Is it orange? What is that? You can't really tell, but you just know, oh my gosh, this is so subtle and perfect. It's not too overpowering and domineering. And the sound would be very much the same. So the sound in a demure home would actually not be my home sound. My home of kiddos playing video games or having their friends over and laughing, or the running up the stairs or the dancing. Yep, we do that too. It is not that sound. It is a quietness, a nice, melodious, maybe a nice soundtrack that has no singing to it. It's just instrumental. And the last thing I would like to say about that is that even though all of that sounds like, oh my gosh, I would not feel at home or comfortable, or I would feel like I couldn't even wear my shoes inside in a home like this. What I want to say is that a demure home it's shy. It's not pretentious at all. And so even though I'm kind of poking fun at this idea of, bold colors being mushroom, or scents not being as strong as vanilla, which is a pretty benign scent. What I want to say is a demure home and a quiet luxury home can actually feel very comfortable because there's no pretentiousness at all. There are quality pieces, yes, and there are light pieces, yes, but it's arranged in such a way that it just feels airy, inviting, relaxing, cozy, calm, super non-pretentious, and very, very approachable. So could you have a Cheeto on the couch? Yeah, because the demure hostess is not going to care one bit. All right, friend, I hope you had fun with me today as we explored what it could look like to have a demure home. All right, if you have not yet registered for the workshop, please come on over. I want to hang out with all of you. It will be my biggest joy to spend my mornings, 2 mornings, with you. So come on over. Again, the link for that is bit.ly/fall home workshop. And I can't wait to see you there. Mark your calendar, September 17th and 18th. All right, until next time, I'll see you soon. Hey, real quick before you go, if you learned something new or found value in today's podcast, would you head over to iTunes to Fig and Farm at Home and leave a review and subscribe to the show? That would be awesome. And if you'd like to connect with my community of mamas who are learning to be intentional storytellers within their own homes, join us at bit.ly/design101 group. There's always more room at the table. See you soon.